Well, hi, Elizabeth. How are you?
I'm good. What about you? Thanks for having me.
Oh, sure. Well, it's really nice to meet a smart woman in Austin who's a tech leader. So-
Appreciate it. Hopefully, I'm not the only one. And so
no, no,
just,
no, no. But it
I
is
just,
nice to see. Well, and today we have so much to talk about, and I really appreciate your making the time available. In the startup venture capital world, you are in your own startup called Boxsy, but also have been a startup advisor of sorts for 20 years now.
yeah, started in corporate America at a really big consulting firm and a very, deep down in technology with very big clients, and always was very interested in the startup ecosystem. Exited
Hmm.
after 10 years and been in that ecosystem now for 8. I
Hmm.
really had all the hats that you can think of, from being an operator to an angel investor to an advisor, as you said. And now it was time to put my founder's hat, I guess, on. And so here I am.
Well, Seattle, Silicon Valley, New York, now Austin. I'm sure you have a big network of people that all have new ideas bubbling up, all this emerging technology. You have a particular interest in how AI has made your startup, so much quicker, more effective, more challenging since 2022. So you want to mention a little bit about AI's role in your startup?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I never thought I was founder's material. If that makes sense. I really thought I was the operator that would help other founders be successful. And with Boxy, that's what I'm doing, which is interesting. I'm just now
Mhm.
taking that. And, when OpenAI came out in 2022, and I was running into the same questions from the different startups I was helping,
Mhm.
I was ready to shoot myself in the head. It's a metaphor, but
Mhm.
we were getting the same questions, and I thought, how do we bring the great wealth of expertise that's out there, not just mine, but there's
Mhm.
plenty of great pieces on best practices on the web, but also other advisors, other
Mhm.
people that have been through it, and how do you really help founders, helping on the operation side, right? All the quote unquote crap we don't have time to do or don't want to do because
But
it's
must be done. But must be done.
but must be done. Exactly.
Mhm.
How do we bring that and really help guide those founders, especially when you're first time founders or you don't get into an accelerator or an incubator? How do we help those founders, or even solo entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs in general? So that's really how
Mhm.
it came about. And
Mhm.
OpenAI had just come out, and I thought, hey, I think the tech is now primed to do something like this versus just a
Mhm.
community based, or
Mhm.
just bringing people together. How do we systematically have a tool that can help? Obviously, we all know where we are now. Almost what, 2.5 years after OpenAI came out. I mean, ChatGPT. They were obviously working on all that for way
Sure.
longer.
Sure, sure.
Um, and now it's going so fast that it's been very interesting. I mean, very exciting and very challenging at the same time, as an AI-enabled company, on keeping up with the technology and making the
Mhm.
right decision on what to use, what not to use. Do we wait? Do we take the leap of faith? But also applying AI to ourselves. Hear more and more the concept of solo entrepreneur, future of work. What does it mean? Can we build a
Mhm.
billion-dollar company with one person?
Mhm.
Again, I don't know if that will be exactly that, never know. But how do you keep a team small and
Mhm.
drive value through those tools that you apply even to yourself as a team, right? And I think that's what we've been trying to do, to be able to recommend to other entrepreneurs the different tools that exist, trying to stay on top of it. So it's been very, very exciting, very tiring, but very exciting because it goes so fast. So
That's wonderful. Well, you have an educational challenge too, because you sort of bring together the funding source, people that are investing in these new ideas, and then the founders, the brilliant idea and their prototype, and they want to get that to market and meet their milestones. What venture capital wants to know is, what are you doing with my money? And founders are like, it's going to be ready on Thursday. Don't talk to me about this other stuff. They're driving what they care about. And you're trying to educate and bring both of those pieces of the puzzle together.
yeah, I think again that's been an evolution. I've been on both sides, and one of the things that was always and is still sometimes scratching my head is, on one side, you have very good ideas that were never funded, very
Mhm.
bad ideas that were funded.
Mhm.
You have people that come from very different backgrounds that don't always get the opportunity, like I had said previously, to get into an accelerator,
Mhm.
because there's not that many of those, and they're
Mhm.
very selective. They can't take everybody on. And so, you have very good people that just don't have maybe the experience or don't know where to start, right?
Mhm.
And so it felt like we needed, I wanted to really
Mhm.
focus on that population of of founders and say, okay, how do we bring that wealth of knowledge? But at the same time, with what's been going on with valuations going down, capital being more rare, fundraising being harder, it was very interesting to me. There is this value creation concept on the investment side. Yes, it's a numbers game. We're going to have to make 100 investment to have one hit. But with what's going on the fundraising and capital, there are startups staying longer with their investors that are not getting to any type of exit. And the only way for those companies to keep growing is to get better from an operational perspective, keep growing from a revenue. I think in that sense, it's a bit of a change of mindset where I would want my investor to actually be more involved with me and say, hey, we're keeping an eye on you, not to be big brother, but just because if we see some indicators that raises a bit of a red flag, we can immediately jump in and say, okay, what's going on? How can we help? But I know it's a change of mindset from both sides, by the way. But I think based on where we are, to me, it feels like it's the right time to maybe do that. It's the time, not of year, but I think it's the right time to break those mindsets. That's not the right. We're not going to break anybody, but
but to bring that, more, clear perspective. I think about the two Steves, for Apple. You had the dreamer and Steve Jobs, who just wanted even the inside of the computer beautiful. And Steve Wozniak is like, why are we spending money on that? Like, I just want to sell computers, let's go. So I think AI supported tools are here to stay, exploding, wonderful, scary, as you mentioned. But, if you can have some of those dreamers have a backbone, they may have a longer runway because they're operationally stronger from go,
Absolutely. And that's what we were trying to figure out where, we're very early stage and like any founders, we're trying to find our hook, right? And trying to find the wheel that's really, okay, I think we got the hook. Now the wheel is going. We do have a few customers, but I think we're still very transparently trying to find that hook. And that hook means, where do we start with founders? Do we start with very, very early stage people that haven't done, are just starting, or are we a bit later down the line when they've already sorted a couple of things, but now it's really time to get ready for fundraising or their first fundraise and then beyond. And it's been interesting going through that exactly based on what you just said, which is trying to find that hook. But yeah, it's still very exciting. It's also very exciting to see people think a lot about tech. Oh, you talk about startups, you talk about VC-backed startups or tech startups, but we have gotten a lot of interest from professional services providers like you, Myrna, that were like, hey, this single pane of glass, I could, would be great to have a visibility like that on my own business. Or, health tech, where like we have the same problem, just different metrics in some areas,
Yes.
And so, we had to start somewhere. That's my background, SaaS. So, but we were also trying to see how far can we go from an industry perspective to build something that's valuable, where it's not just the typical VC backed and SaaS, but really also some of the other entrepreneurs that have the same problems, the same, I don't know, not lack of knowledge is not what I want to say, but that need that help or want that support.
And in the industry, the AI is supporting such rapid growth. There's a lot of cost savings that can happen. I was speaking to a global attorney, and they use AI to be sure that they're not, that they're conserving billable hours. If there's something AI can be doing cheaply and well, their customers expect them to be doing that, not, paying a human to do something that really AI could do for them. So I think there's a lot of cost benefit analysis going on about using AI tools, even though they're so new and they're still being trained. But you're an example of, a forward-thinking founder can look at this and say, we're going to put this to work. We're going to help this environment, these people get these companies off the ground, have their money last longer, have the metrics be transparently available to the people that are involved in the company, so that you have healthy startups.
I mean, if we manage to get 1% more startups funded, that would be my big success, 1 or 2%, that would be great. We all know the numbers, right? 90% of seed startups never raise A, 10% raise. And telling people, if I manage to help 1 or 2% more, and it's a lot of startups, don't get me wrong, when you start putting numbers, I'll claim success. I'll be like, you know what, I've done my job. That means that I've made more potential founders successful for an exit eventually. And then
Mhm.
then we would have helped also investor make more money.
Of
So,
course.
it's just all
The
the
environment
parentheses go
will
back
work better.
instead of,
The
yeah,
environments everyone's working in will work better. Yeah. So I know that you have a global perspective because you're a citizen of France and a citizen of America. So
yeah.
20 years here, there's kind of a fun story during COVID. You had 12 or 15 minutes of downtime and you wrote a book and it's coming out next month. Tell us about that.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning it. So it's called French Lending. It's actually already available pre-order on Amazon. And
Mhm.
if you want print, ebook, or even audio, I had fun recording my book, which was interesting.
Mhm.
But it's really a 20 chapters, perfect beach read, and it's funny stories about me as a French woman coming into the US and experiencing dating to politics, religion,
Mhm.
you name it, right? A lot of the different cultural differences, but also the contradictions that exist in this country. So
Yes.
I talk about that. And,
Mhm.
at the end of the day, the idea behind the book was to say, it's a bit of an ode to the US, right? I always wanted to come here and have an
Mhm.
experience. I didn't think I was going to stay 20 years, but here I am. It's really one, it's not that easy to immigrate into the US,
No,
just in
no.
general, and getting
Mhm.
assimilated into the culture. Uh,
Mhm.
Not that it's not an easy culture, but you got to learn
Mhm.
all those
Mhm.
contradictions and all those.
Yes.
And the other one was really to kind of two things from an American audience perspective was like, you are very lucky to be born here. For some of us that come from other countries, seeking the American dream in a
Sure.
way, you have that opportunity. So be lucky. It's not
Sure.
all bad. It's
Sure.
still a great country.
Mhm.
And to just share a bit of the differences with France. There was a lot of books written by Americans about France and Paris, living there and all that, but not
Mhm.
as
Mhm.
much on the other side. So I was trying
Mhm.
to also highlight the differences, and so try to I wouldn't say teach, but just share like, hey, this is how it works there. So some is good, some is bad. Up to you to make a determination.
Well, I love that you have a more global perspective because tech is a global environment. So much happens with whoever's doing the programming, different kinds of funding, where the chips are made, where it gets manufactured. We put sort of global pieces together for the puzzle. And even just in the startup phase, while the idea may come here, the ideas don't have country boundaries. Ideas happen in other places too. And, if your SaaS platform works here, it works everywhere.
I think that was the big, I think it was always true from a tech perspective. It just happened that innovation started maybe more rapidly in certain countries than others, right? And we can go back all the way to post-war and IBM and you name it, right?
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
big companies that came out of
Mhm.
the US, and then eventually the rest of the world caught up.
Mhm.
Um, since the internet and now with social media, which is yet another category, I
Mhm.
think that opened up even more that global perspective, that global ideas that can come from pretty much anywhere in the world. And one of the continents we don't talk a lot about is Africa.
Yes.
You'd be surprised how there is a lot of innovation there for the continent, still very focused on the continent,
Mhm.
but great talent. And I wouldn't be surprised if we start. I mean, there's already great, successful companies out there, but I wouldn't be surprised that we start seeing really billion-dollar companies, more of them. That's what I
Mhm.
mean,
Mhm.
from some of those economies that were, maybe not as prosperous for different reasons
Yeah,
before.
you wouldn't have them top of mind if you're thinking about where are these kind of environments. So you're in Austin, I'm in Austin, and we talked about kind of tech in Austin. There's a lot of blockchain activity. Of course, Dell Computer back in the day was founded here, but some AI work that's being done here, cybersecurity with the cyber command that's here, and now space. So this is an exciting time, to be in a startup culture here in Austin.
Yeah, I think, I've had a chance to experience the New York ecosystem and then the Bay Area ecosystem, which are decently big compared to
Yes.
Austin. I think our ecosystem is growing, with some focus in areas just because of who's been transplanting themselves here in some
Mhm.
cases, right?
Mhm.
I think we all
Mhm.
know that. But I was just at a female founders and funders event this morning, downtown, and we were just talking about the really laid back and collaborative and friendly environment that's here. And it's very great to see those community growing, whether you're a female founder or any type of founder. And so it's been interesting. It's always I think we're all a bit on the edge of our seat. Also, I think during COVID, a lot of capital had moved in. After COVID, some capital went back to the coast, but the ecosystem's still thriving. So I think we're just trying to see like what's going to be next, right, for the ecosystem here. But it's it's an exciting time. It's been great, just meeting a lot of people, very, very supportive, and so it's a great time.
Well, I want to applaud your courage to take the plunge personally. Use AI tools and to say, I've helped a lot of people do this. I'm also going to do this with Boxsy. No, really, congratulations. It's very inspiring. And, the sleepless nights and the team building and all the stuff that has to happen, I'm sure you'll have amazing stories to tell 5 years from now. But for now, much, much applause to you for the courage to make it happen.
No, thank you. Thank you very much. It's, I'm not the first one, won't be the last one. I think we all talk about the wins, but there are also the lows. It is a roller coaster journey. I think we all have to admit that. It's okay. It's totally normal. And I would highly encourage anybody that's thinking about it to do it. No matter what the outcome, I think it's a great learning experience. I think, it's definitely, you learn a lot about yourself too. Not just about business or, handling situation or people or anything like that. And so I think, again, no matter what the outcome is, it's a great growth journey, and I would recommend to take the plunge if you can do it and you're in the right situation. Absolutely, you should do it.
Well, and it's wonderful to have advisors too who have seen a lot. And so you might have say, I've seen that before. Maybe try this pivot. So wonderful to have a resource like you in town, and best of luck with Boxsy. It sounds amazing.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, good. Oh, and I'll be buying the book when it comes out later next month. Thank you so much, Elisabeth.
Thanks for having me, Marina.
Take care.